Hi, I'm Dave Barnes.
And I'm John McLaughlin.
And welcome to Dadville.
Dadville is a podcast where we talk about life, love, and the pursuit of awesome dadding.
It's funny thoughts and deep talks.
So please, enjoy your time here in Dadville and enjoy this episode with Drew and Ellie Holcomb. Dave. Dave.
He swims in water so fast. In 2024, John.
Yeah.
There's one word.
Yeah.
That keeps popping into my head.
Okay. What is it?
Simplify. I'm going to simplify my life. And the first thing I'm going to focus on is my meal prep. Okay? If I have to go into one more crowded grocery store, Johnny.
Oh, I hear you, man. Okay. And I have a great idea to help you with that. Okay. You can simplify with Factor.
Oh.
Yeah. Factor's ready-to-eat meal delivery takes the stress out of meal planning, and it is stressful, right? And it sets you up for success in the new year.
Okay.
Skip the grocery stores. Skip the prep work. Okay. Skip the cooking fatigue.
Ugh.
Instead, get chef-crafted, dietitian-approved meals delivered right to your door.
John.
Yep.
I'm not going to do this unless I get over 35 meals to choose from per week. Bottom line.
Dave, sit down. You're already sitting down, but sit down even further because Factor has you covered, Dave, with over 35 meals to choose from per week, including options like keto, calorie smart, vegan and veggie, and more, plus over 55 weekly add-ons. You'll have a ton of nutritious and flavorful options.
John, I am in.
I knew it.
Forget frantic lunch preps and rushed dinners.
No.
While you're listening to Rush, Factor's 2-minute meals are going to be my secret weapon in the new year. I'm going to fuel up with restaurant-quality meals, all delivered. Guess where, John?
I mean, they could deliver it to the sidewalk,
They're not gonna do
it'd
that,
be
though.
a great deal.
Nope.
No. Right to your door.
Straight to my door.
Right to your door.
Yep. And if I open the door, I bet they'll throw it in.
Factor has everything you need for a week of flavorful, nutritious eats, in addition to ready-to-eat meals. They have cold-pressed juices, smoothies, energy bites, extra protein, veggie sides, and more to keep you energized during the frantic times.
Head to factormeals.com/Dadville50 and use code Dadville50 to get 50% off.
That's insane. 50% off? That's half if my math is correct. That's code Dadville50 at factormeals.com/Dadville50 to get 50% off.
Dadville is sponsored by BetterHelp.
Dave.
Yeah.
You want to know one of the relationships I'm most proud of?
I do.
There was a guy in college.
Okay.
Right? He and I disagreed on pretty much everything. Right? Our personalities were different, and we barely had anything in common. Yet, he became a really important friend to me.
Oh, wow. How'd you become good friends in spite of all that?
Well, we just worked at it. We worked at our friendship. You know, we found common ground, and we discovered that a common misconception about relationships is that they have to be easy right off the bat. You know, It reminded me that therapy can be a great place to work through the challenges we face in all of our relationships.
Yeah, I agree. I think therapy is a great way to focus on the positive and find our strengths. It's so helpful. It teaches coping skills, helps you set boundaries, empowers you to be the best version of yourself.
You're totally right. And it isn't just for those who have experienced some huge trauma. You know, It can benefit anyone.
If you're thinking of starting therapy, give BetterHelp a try. It's entirely online and designed to be convenient, flexible, and suited to your schedule. Just fill out a brief questionnaire to get matched with a licensed therapist and switch therapists anytime for no additional charge.
Visit BetterHelp.com/Dadville today to get 10% off your first month.
That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/Dadville. How's everybody doing?
We're good, I think.
Collectively?
Yeah,
good?
we're doing great.
So nervous.
I should tell everybody who y'all are. So it's Drew and Ellie Holcomb here with us. Hey. Drew is coming in hot from Glasgow. I learned this week, as a 45-year-old, Glaswegians.
Oh, the Glaswegians.
I just learned about that.
I was on a train full of them.
That's
what they're
real?
called.
That's what they're. If you're from Glasgow, you're called
Glaswegians. They say it with a little different. Glaswegians.
Glaswegians.
I was on a train with like 20 of them, and there was 10 in the morning. We were going from Manchester to Glasgow, and they were already drunk.
Wow.
I was just about to say, what's a
loudest.
Glaswegian's like main characteristic?
Oh, like Glasgow is like seriously like blue collar alpha male vibes.
Wow.
Okay.
It's Pittsburgh vibe.
So
How do you feel in that
I was going to say, I
environment
feel like you just slotted right in.
Yeah.
You're like, these are my people. I love all
see
of
this
you.
beard?
You're like, this is the
I
easiest
wasn't
I've ever
feeling it. I
communicated
wasn't
with you.
feeling it in the train. I was like, can you guys just be a little less loud? And they were hitting on every woman within the,
Oh
the,
gosh,
the
okay,
whole
that's
train.
not you. That's not
No,
you.
that's not me.
you.
No.
That's so funny. Okay, so we've been doing this fun thing where we have couples on, and we immediately thought of the two of y'all.
Yeah.
And one of the
Top of the
things,
list.
one of the things that we love asking initially, because it obviously matters, is what's the meet cute? Like, how did you guys meet? I don't think I even know this.
Oh yeah.
I can tell it.
Yeah.
So Ellie was a freshman at UT. I was a sophomore, and we had a lot of mutual friends because I met she went to CPA here in Nashville,
Mm-hmm.
and there were a bunch of CPA people my age. One in particular, a guy named Justin Carlson, and his now wife Betsy, who they were just friends.
Shout
at the
out
time.
to the Carlsons.
Yep. So I knew of Ellie. I think she had heard of me as well, and we were at a pregame barbecue at a house in Fort Sanders, which is like the area next to campus. And she was standing on the stairs, and I was walking up the stairs, and someone introduced us. It was like, "Oh, hey, Ellie, this is my friend Drew. Drew's my friend Ellie." And I was like, "Hey," and first thing out of her mouth, she goes, "Hey, what'd you do today?" And I was like, "Wow, what a like."
That's a great start. That's
Yeah.
a great start.
What'd you do?
What'd you do today? And I had taken my first solo flight that day.
Holy cow! I didn't know you started that
Whoa.
long ago.
Yeah, I started my sophomore year of high school.
Jeez Louise.
Oh.
So I was
high
like,
school?
no, sorry, college. Sorry,
okay.
Sophomore year of college. So I was like, ooh, what a great opportunity.
This is the perfect
Yeah.
day.
Actually,
How about this lead in? Well, as a matter of fact,
I did
am
see your
Maverick.
face light up when I asked you that question. I was like, oh, you like
Yes.
this?
So I was like, actually, I flew an airplane by myself for the first time today. And so that,
Obviously, that was cool.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
That's maybe
So-
the best start of any.
well, just wait for it.
Okay.
It doesn't get better from there. It leads to a crash and burn.
But
Just
we had
David.
a great
We had a
conversation.
great conversation. 4 or 5 months later, I didn't see her in the between time, and we were at Betsy's apartment with a bunch of friends, a big dinner, all people my age, and we're in the kitchen in a circle. And Ellie comes to the party, and she walks in the middle. She walks into the circle, and Betsy's introducing her to everyone in a row, and
Oh,
I'm the
no.
last one. So she introduces her to everybody. She gets to me, and she goes, "Wait." Ellie says, "Wait, I've met you before. Aren't you like a pilot or something?" And I said, like this, "Well, I am. Who told you that?" She goes, "You did." And all of my friends were like, "Oh, you're using it as a pickup line." And I was like, "Well, she asked me what I did that day." So
Isn't it crazy?
Anyone who just flew a plane by themselves and then meets a girl at a
it's
party
allowed to
is
talk
gonna-
about it.
Of course.
Yeah.
That's the
Yeah.
lead.
How-
You don't even start with your name. You're just like, before I even tell you that,
Maverick.
I just flew it.
Yeah. You can call me Maverick, and here's why.
But isn't it crazy?
Here's
Like,
why.
if you think, especially about those two interactions, like if you could pause time and realize that so much is about to happen with these two people that they are so unsuspecting of. Like they're gonna they're gonna have kids and have a family and have
Yeah.
this life together. Yet it started with. Well, it's funny you asked. I was flying just
Flying.
moments ago.
Yeah.
Just moments ago, I was in the
I'm
air.
19 and I'm so proud of myself.
So it's,
What? But I'm like, that is flying
No,
a plane
that-
is
that-
Of course.
amazing.
if there are 10 things you could have said that everybody's like, yeah, it's okay. I mean, flying a plane by yourself would have been okay to be proud of.
Ellie,
Yeah.
do you remember the moment where you like, oh, dang, this guy flew a plane? Really?
Oh yeah, I remember. That's not the answer that you get when you're a 19-year-old in college.
Right.
Yep.
From anyone.
Yeah,
When
yeah.
you ask, "What'd you do today?"
Yeah.
Actually, I flew a plane. What?
Yeah,
I remember being like, "That's so cool."
you're gonna remember.
You
that.
weren't
And
like,
again,
oh, he's into
Her
model
grandfather
airplanes.
was a pilot, so it
Oh,
immediately
that's
led
really
into
cool.
this
Yeah,
conversation.
yeah.
And she had fun with him as a little
Yeah.
kid. And
Yeah, it was awesome.
So I guess that were there sparks or no sparks?
For me, I just thought they were like friendship sparks for sure. I was
That
like,
means
"Oh, this
no.
guy's so cool."
I don't think that's a thing.
There are no friendship sparks.
There
Those
are
aren't
no
sparks.
friendship sparks. What are those?
It's like electrical heat.
It's like really calm warmth.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
a
It's
heating
like-
blanket.
it's a radiator.
Yeah, it's like a
Yeah.
heating,
heating blanket.
That's exactly
There's no
right.
sparks.
A
no
water
fire.
bottle.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah,
what
like
are,
a
what
warm
are those
water.
called?
Yes, yeah.
Meanwhile, I was like, that
Hello.
hello. But also, I had this is shows my contrarian nature. Ellie was also like the freshman that all the sophomore guys were like,
Yeah, yeah.
"Have you met Ellie?
Yeah.
Ellie Bannister." And so I was immediately like, "I'm good. I
Yeah.
don't need to be
Yeah.
caught up in this
Mm-hmm.
trap."
Yeah.
But secretly, I was like, man, she was pretty cool.
Yeah. Yeah. And so then at the party, is that the jumping off point at the party then 6 months later?
That's really where, like, we
that's where our
started
friendship
hanging out.
began, yeah.
Because we had a ton of mutual friends. So
I invited her like a week later on my fraternity formal weekend.
Oh, cool.
And then I had to call her dad and like reassure him that my intentions were not to take her to Charleston for a weekend for, ill repute, in the words of my mother.
I love
Did
that.
you really say ill repute on
I
the
did.
phone with my dad?
No, gosh, no.
Oh, okay. I was like, oh
Yeah.
my God.
No, but anyway, so we went to Charleston, and while all of our friends were like on the beach drinking beer and being college students, Ellie and I went into Charleston downtown and did like a history walk.
Oh, I
and-
love that.
We were like total dorks. Everybody's like, party. And we were like, did you know this house was built in? I mean, I have a picture. I'm wearing glasses. I look like I'm actually like a lot what I'm wearing right now.
Nothing's changed.
I wanted to be like Meg Ryan. I was a teacher. Like a combination
that
of
so
Meg
much.
Ryan and Dangerous Minds, Michelle Pfeiffer.
Right,
Oh,
right, right.
Like
okay.
that,
Got
but
an
like
edge.
Michelle Pfeiffer,
Like you
but with
own
Meg
a
Ryan
small
style.
bookstore, but you wear a leather jacket.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
sometimes. Yeah.
Sometimes.
But I didn't own a leather jacket. So I just mainly was owning a small bookshop like
Yeah.
glasses.
Yeah. It's you and like the rest of the demo of that tour is like 81-year-old people, and then this really cute young,
exactly.
20-year-old,
Yep, I was a
It's true.
total history nerd.
So when's the
we
moment where it's
So
like-
we had an absolute blast together. Danced like crazy. I mean, we had so much fun together, and we really we always have. And we went home.
and she broke my heart.
Yeah. Well, it's so interesting. I went home from that weekend. I'd had my heart broken real bad in high school. I was still pretty much in love with like my high school boyfriend, who everybody was like, we were like the couple, they're going to get married, whatever. So that I was still kind of wrapped up in that. But I went home and I was like, I went home and I wrote a song
Holy cow.
in college. It was one of my first songs. It was called Charleston, and it was like how like I've missed the ship again. Like he's a really like. I went home and I was like, hey, I don't want to date you.
And I was like, I didn't ask you to date me. I asked you to go on a formal.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
that's an aggressive response.
But I've been I was a big flirt in college. I had led a lot of people on, like truly, because I was like searching for my identity and whatever. So I had been really convicted about that, and I was like, I don't want to lead this guy on, like, but I am gonna let this go because I'm in a really not healthy place. So from a pretty like, I don't know, like sober-minded place in my mind in college, I was like, hey, I just want to be your friend. I don't need to date anybody right now. I'm like not in a great place.
This is sophomore year for you?
This is my freshman year.
End of her freshman year.
Okay.
I'm like, that's pretty mature for
Yeah,
a
that
freshman.
is.
I mean, I was very much not mature for most of the freshman year. And then by
At that
this
moment.
point, I'd like kind of been like, hey. But I wrote a song about it because I was like, he's a really good guy.
Wow.
Like, and we had so much fun. And so I had this big conversation that was very awkward. Like, hey, I had so much fun with you. I just want to be your friend. I don't want to date you. And his response was, I didn't ask you to date me.
I love that so much. I love that so much.
It's like, this feels a little early.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, and I was like,
You
that.
can't break up with me before
What
we're
an
dating.
awkward phone conversation. I remember I was in the middle of Presidential Square, and I was like, that's true. You did not ask me to date you. Sorry about that.
Which I'm imagining that had to be interesting to you.
I like love awkward. Like if you serve up to me something that deserves awkward,
You'll give it.
You
I will
can't
give it right
relish
back
in
to
it.
you.
Yeah,
So I was just like, okay, I
that's
didn't
fine.
ask you to date me. She's
And I
like,
was like, cool.
yeah, well, but
I'm just used to
Really
guys
awkward.
falling for
I'm just
me.
used to every guy falling for me, and I'm like, secretly though, she was right. I was like, yeah, I totally fell for you.
Of
like,
course.
"Dadgummit."
Yeah.
It's really a bummer to hear this news,
Yeah.
but
But it really, like, I didn't believe him. He was like, I just want to be, I'm great. Let's just be friends. And then he was like, you were instigator of fun in our friend group. Like, he was like, hey, he's like, the plan, this is still who you are. I'm always like talking to all our friends who, are married, and to the wives, I'm like, I'm sorry for Drew. Yes, your husband away again. Like,
I have 3 friends that literally have a annual line item budget in their life just says Drew.
I imagine
Road
Brad's
trips.
one of those.
Brad is definitely
Brad
one
is
of those.
definitely one of those.
Brad didn't have to
Your
approve it
brother.
though until he got married.
Yeah.
This is just Drew.
It's true, but he was doing that in college. He's like, hey, David Gray's playing in Nashville. Hey, we should go to this county fair. I've heard it's really good. Hey, there's this really cool, like, up in the mountains, they have this church and they come and do like a bluegrass pool. Like, we're all going to go up and go. Like, this is literally who you were, and it's who you are now. Nothing's changed. It's awesome. And so, he kept inviting me to do stuff, and I just was trying to give space because I was like, oh, I think he likes me. So he got mad.
so
I was getting distance from him because I felt like he maybe wanted to be more than friends, and I was like, I'm
So
not
I ran
helping.
into her on campus, and it was one of those, like, I was just excited to see a friend. UT's huge. You don't really run into your friends that often.
Mm-hmm.
And I saw her, and she was like the most awkward. It was the most awkward interaction I've had with someone. She was just like, hi. It was right after spring break, so I was like, hey, how was your spring break? It's fine. So I call her that night. I'm like, hey, can I take you to breakfast? I have something I need to talk to you about. And she was like, okay. So the next morning I pick her up behind her dorm, and we're going to this place called Long's Drugstore, which you know in Knoxville is a great little spot. It's 15 minutes away. And she's trying to small talk me the whole way there. And I was like, can we just wait till we get there to talk? Like,
Guys. I was like, oh, okay,
So,
yeah, let's listen to some music.
I am a lot of fun. I plan a lot of fun, but I'm also a fairly intense person.
Yeah.
You know, so
It's true.
it's fine. I'm okay with it. So we sit down for breakfast, and we order, some food, and then I say, well, the reason I brought you this morning, we went on this fun weekend thing. I've met you. We have a lot of mutual friends. I've invited you to do a lot of fun stuff. You've been weird about all of it. You told me on the phone that you didn't want to date me. You just wanted to be friends. I'm not sure what friendship is, but I feel like you're like treating me like I'm like some ex-boyfriend or something, and I'm just trying to be your friend and invite you to stuff. You've treated me really poorly.
You've been a really bad
And
friend.
you've been a really bad. If this
Wow.
is friendship, you're not good at it.
Yeah.
Wow.
And I was like ready for a fight,
Uh-huh.
And she goes, "This is the moment I fell in love with her." She goes, "You're right. I'm really sorry." And I was like, "Shoot." Now I want to get with
wizardry.
you.
Oh yeah, now I'm really attracted to you.
But then from that point on, we really did
We
build
really-
a cool friendship, and there's a whole lot of twists and turns. 5 years later, we finally went on a date.
5 years. later.
5 years.
Yeah.
So after UT, obviously.
Uh-huh.
For
He
me,
had
she
already
was
graduated.
getting her master's when we started dating.
Yeah.
Holy cow! Where were you?
Oh well, I graduated
Yep.
2.5 years later, and then I went to Memphis for about a year
Okay.
and a half,
Oh, that's right. That's
and
right.
then we started dating while I was in Memphis. And
Long distance in Knoxville.
yeah,
Dang.
for about but only for about 4 months, and then
Okay.
I moved back to Knoxville. When
Which, before you did, just to tie in the pilot piece, you
Oh,
had
fly
bought a
from
plane.
Memphis. Yeah.
Yeah, with his cousin.
This is
And-
like in 2004 when banks would let you like buy anything.
Jeez.
So my cousin and I went to a bank and bought an airplane on an interest-only loan in 2004. We had it for 6 months, and then we sold it at a profit.
Oh my gosh.
Because it's
Wow.
expensive to get your hours. to
Yeah,
get-
because it was cheaper to do that and get our
Yeah.
hours. He's now a commercial pilot for FedEx. But anyways, so I would fly to Knoxville, and
Oh, that
that
makes
was kinda
sense.
how
How long is that flight in that plane?
well, it was probably 2 hours.
Jeez, that's amazing.
Yeah,
6
so
hour
he'd call,
drive.
be like, "What are you doing?" I'm like, "I'm studying." "What are you doing in 2 hours?" "Nothing."
You want to go fly over the Smokies?
Jeez,
That
that's
is
cool.
amazing.
Yeah, it was cool.
It was awesome.
So then, after we started dating, 4 months later, I moved to Knoxville. 4 months later, we were engaged. 6 months later, we were married. So it was all pretty quick because we'd known each other for so long. So
My name is Dave and his name is John, and that makes us.
Dave and John.
I think that may
Wow.
be the best one we've ever.
That was run through one, people. Everyone thinks we rehearsed that, and we didn't.
No, John. But
Yeah.
can I be serious for a second?
Please.
What's your favorite thing about ButcherBox?
Oh my God, I'm so glad you asked that. All right. My favorite thing about ButcherBox. This is tough. Okay. But it's probably that it's the ultimate convenience, right?
Yep.
It's delivered right to my doorstep. Now, we've said this before. They could deliver it down the street, and I would walk gladly and get it because it's so good.
They could
But
find another John that lives within a square mile.
Sure. And I'll connect with him.
Yeah.
We'll exchange information. We'll work it out. But they deliver it right to my doorstep, always with free shipping.
Yep.
And it's curated to my customized box plan.
That's right, Johnny.
Yeah.
You know why?
Why?
Because they love you.
Yep.
With ButcherBox, I take fewer trips to the grocery store, John. I'm always prepared with meat in the freezer, and I get curated tips and recipes based on my box.
Ooh, I want to hear about one of those recipes right now,
Okay,
Dave.
I'll give you
Hit
this
me.
one, okay? It's my glazed pork meatballs,
Okay, that sounds like sweet, tangy perfection.
which
Say
is
more.
how I was described in high school.
Yeah, it was.
When it comes to comfort food, John, meatballs have a special place in the hearts and stomachs of my entire family. These glazed pork meatballs take classic comfort food to a new level. They're perfect for a cozy night in.
That sounds so good.
Yeah.
All right. With all these cold, wet days, especially that we're having, I feel like I need a pretty long list of cozy night recipes.
Yeah, I get
You know
that.
what I mean?
They got you covered, dog.
They have-
ButcherBox is on it.
They have great recipes and a variety of high-quality cuts at an amazing value. Plus, exclusive member deals, recipe inspiration, guide, tips, hacks.
Yeah.
Now, Dave, hey, it's time to tell them about our special deal.
Let me just get ready.
Yeah.
Eat better this year with the best meat and seafood on the planet delivered to your door. ButcherBox is offering our listeners their choice of a weeknight meal essential: 3 pounds of chicken thighs, 2 pounds of ground beef, or 1 pound of premium steak tips for free in every order for a whole year.
That's unbelievable.
How do they stay in business?
don't
Plus,
know.
get 20% off your first order.
It's insane. So sign up today at butcherbox.com/dadville and use the code dadville to choose your free offer and get $20 off.
John?
Hey, Dave.
Oh my gosh. Good.
Sorry. I'm
Ooh,
sorry.
golly.
I'm coming in really
I didn't
hot
even know you
here.
could fit in my suitcase. That's amazing.
Well, I barely can, and this is kind of on topic here. Listen,
okay.
as I get older, I don't know about you, but I'm thinking about everything I'm eating.
I think
Like
about
whether
what you eat a lot, yeah.
whether it's healthy.
Yeah. No, John, I don't want to go there.
Okay.
I feel like you're pretty healthy. You're overthinking this. But I do understand if that's just all that holiday candy talking to you.
No,
you
no,
look
no, no.
smelly, kid.
No, I don't want to. Don't shame me with that stuff.
Okay,
This,
well,
I'm living in the present,
Okay.
not the past. I need to be smarter about it, and I need some. I just wish that there was some place
Uh-huh.
that carried like only high quality ingredients, only good sourced methods.
Oh,
You know
okay.
what I mean?
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
I need them to even restrict hundreds of ingredients across their food and cleaning categories.
Whoa.
Like I want them to go all out to make sure I'm healthy.
John,
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, knock, knock.
Who's there?
Thrive Market. Okay? Not only does Thrive Market do all that, it also lets you filter results based on your lifestyle needs. Whether you're looking for organic kid snacks,
Yes.
low sugar foods,
Uh-huh.
or gluten-free essentials,
Okay.
Thrive Market makes it happen.
Dave, that sounds amazing, but it also sounds pricey.
Oh, John, it's awesome, but it's not pricey.
What?
Okay? In fact, as
Tell
a
me more.
Thrive Market member, I save money on every single grocery order, an average of 30% each time. They also have a deals page that changes daily. In fact, today I saved 30% on Annie's organic bunny fruit snacks, and that's not my Annie.
That's right.
Or
She
we would
could
be
make
living
them,
in
though,
a
maybe.
very different house. And Julie's organic date snack packs.
Okay, I'm looking at it right now. It says that, okay, it says here that
Yeah.
when I join Thrive Market, I'm also helping a family in need with their 1-for-1 membership
Oh, that's
matching
awesome.
program.
Love that.
I join, they give. Is that right?
Yeah, so join in on the savings with Thrive Market today and get 30% off your first order plus a free $60 gift.
Amazing.
Go to thrivemarket.com/dadville for 30% off your first order plus a free $60 gift.
I am signing up right now. I'm going to thrivemarket.com. That's THRIVE market.com/dadville. thrivemarket.com/dadville.
John, what is that fantastic fragrance? I feel like every room I've been walking into lately smells amazing here.
Well, Dave.
Yeah.
Not surprised.
Okay. Well,
You know, because you're constantly over at my house.
Okay.
Which we actually might need to talk about.
Okay.
But also, because I've started using today's sponsor, Notes Candles.
Oh, okay.
Dave, in a word,
Yeah.
I'm obsessed.
Okay.
All right? This brand, it's not only because their candles smell amazing,
Yeah.
duh,
Okay.
but because they aren't just any normal candle.
Oh, okay.
And you know me, I'm like, whenever somebody offers me a candle, I'm like, is it just another normal candle? Well, with Notes, it's not.
Yeah.
All right? They're on a mission to help eliminate single-use candle vessels and give home fragrance lovers a more earth-friendly option without giving up beautiful, high-quality fragrance.
I've heard that the candle industry has a major problem,
Yep.
John.
Yep.
Almost 2 billion candles are sold globally
That's
each year,
insane.
and almost all of them are likely to end up in landfills for the next 1 million years.
That's right, Dave.
Also, if someone's looking for a smart investment, landfills, because they're going to be around apparently for a long
Apparently, they're going to
time.
be around.
Yeah.
Yeah, 1 million years. That's insane,
Yeah.
isn't it?
Yep.
We all want our homes to smell great, but there had to be a more responsible way, and the folks at Notes, that's hard to say, the folks at Notes
That was good.
found that perfect solution.
Could have cursed and you didn't. That sounds very intriguing. Can you just give me like the backstory? Like what?
I would love
what they
to
do.
give-
How did they figure this
Yeah,
out?
well, listen up.
Okay.
Pull up a little carpet. Notes has created a refillable candle system that allows you to use your candle vessel again and again and again. And Dave, even again.
Wow.
So you don't become part of the problem.
Yeah.
It is so easy to use, guys. The candles are made with fragranced waxed beads. That's also hard to say.
Okay.
All you do is place the wick in your reusable Notes jar, fill it up with the wax beads, enjoy your fragrance for up to 36 hours, and then just do it all over again when it's ready for another one.
Oh, so that means I can switch out fragrances all the time.
That's
too.
right.
That's
That's
great,
right.
John. I'm checking out their website, and I think I already have my eye on Oat Milk and Balsam Berry, which is also my favorite wrestling group, and Vanilla and Pepperwood, which ironically were their enemies in the wrestling.
Well, you know, the one you're enjoying right now is pistachio and rose water. It's probably my favorite.
Okay.
Right? There are 13 amazing fragrances in all, handcrafted by fragrance experts at their home base in South Carolina, and they are to die for.
Everybody listening, be a responsible consumer while not giving up high-quality home fragrance by making the switch to Notes. You can build your custom starter kit right now at notescandles.com/podcast. Right now, Notes is giving listeners 15% off and free shipping when you buy a Notes starter kit using code DADVILLE. Just use code DADVILLE when placing your order.
That's code DADVILLE at notescandles.com/podcast.
God, that is... I'd forgotten that y'all didn't start dating until that much later.
Later, yeah. And I almost married another guy. That ended, thank goodness. It was so unhealthy. I know, it was really bad. And when that ended, my first thought, because he used to get really mad, I would sing with Drew. And the guy I was dating, like, hated that for very obvious reasons.
Yeah.
Because we had this like connection on stage. Drew's raising his eyebrows.
what he's doing.
But when that ended, it was really embarrassing, like really unhealthy, really like sad time. But it was so good that it ended because it was such an unhealthy deal. But he like broke up with me on the day he was going to propose to me. So it was
Holy
like
cow.
drama. And when I was coming down from that, I was burning everything that the guy had ever given me
That's right.
in a moment of clarity. And my friend came home. She was like, "Hey, is the house on fire?" No, good. And then B, how you doing? And I was like, "It's so weird." I was like, "I can't. I'm okay. I think it's good that this ended. It wasn't great anyway." And I can't stop thinking about Drew, which it just feels like moving on pretty fast,
Yeah.
like as you're
Yeah, girl.
burning.
You're like, I can't stop thinking
Drew's
about
plane's
you.
just circling ahead.
Yeah, Drew's he's flying. He's following.
I got
the
a
signs.
co-pilot. I put on a parachute. You got this, Billy. I'm jumping out.
You're just holding a ring.
I got to go see about a girl.
That's right.
Oh my gosh.
But it was a really like beautiful. It just was. I love the way that our story played out because I had him in the serious friend zone. So it was weird that I said that. I was like, I just missed Drew. That was my whole thing. And finally, I got to the point where I was like, Mom, every time a guy asked me to go out on a date, I just can't stop thinking about Drew.
Wow.
I'm like, I want to. Maybe I'll like the guy. I'll be like, yeah, let's go. But I just keep thinking, oh man, but I don't want this to change my friendship with Drew. And she was like, then you should probably go out on a date with
He's
him.
like, look, I'm not the smartest person in the world, but what it feels like you're so obviously, I mean, are you kind of keeping tabs on her that whole time? Kind of like, oh, she's dating this guy, or you moved on?
Yes
are you
and no. I mean, once she started dating the other guy, I felt like my role was like, as her friend, was to just be her friend. And at that point, I had sort of made peace with the fact that it wasn't me.
Oh, wow.
And I had, in that season, I then graduated, started doing music. I moved back to Memphis. I was making a record. I was playing shows and living, and was flying a lot. And so I had made peace with, she had told me in our friendship that she's like, we're getting pretty serious. We'll probably be engaged this fall. So when she said that, I kind of was like, I'm not going to try to angle anything here.
Mm-hmm.
I dated someone else in the meantime. Like it wasn't like me sitting around like waiting it out.
Yeah.
But yeah, the day that I heard that he broke up with her, I'll never forget. I was actually driving to Knoxville to go to a game and play a show the next weekend and spend a week with old friends. And I was listening to Tom Waits' Closing Time on the drive.
Yeah.
And there's the last track is the instrumental with the piano trumpet. And it's just like, I played it on repeat for like an hour and just totally let myself imagine. But also, I called my brother, who's 5 years younger than me, so he was junior in high school. And he didn't like Ellie because of the way she had kind of, taken me for a ride. And I was like, he's like, what are you doing? I was like, I'm just listening to some music. He's like, what's going on?
Wait, is it the last track? And how many times have you listened to it?
Yeah, exactly. And he was like, oh no, not her. This is bad. She's going to break your heart.
Hated me.
So anyways, she obviously, won everybody over as soon as they spent some time with her. But it was pretty quickly once they broke up.
Yeah.
I think my heart had always really had a very like sincere affection for her, and it was very clear that at that point I was gonna wait it out and see if I was the guy.
And then how long after that did y'all start?
That was in August, and we went on our first date the following May.
Oh gosh. Okay, so a minute.
I just can't believe how
I told her how I felt
long.
about her in December.
Oh wow.
She told me.
Oh, this is a good story. We were at the what venue is that? He was playing a show in Nashville.
The Sutler, the old
At the
Sutler.
Oh my
Sutler.
gosh,
Yeah.
yes, right over here.
So
Yeah.
at this point, are you guys playing together?
She's still
already?
in school. I'm playing a lot, but she's singing with me
I come
like
up and sing a song or
once a
two.
month.
Like if
or
you're
something.
available, you'll go.
Yeah, like if
Yeah.
it's Knoxville or Nashville, typically
Yeah.
was sort of the thing.
Sometimes singing songs that were about me that I didn't know were
Oh,
about
my
me.
gosh.
Kind
Ooh.
of crazy.
Well played,
Love
Drew. Well,
It was pretty aloof.
So I played this show at the Sutler in December, and I played this song, I Like to Be With Me When I'm With You, which is basically like a song about the friendship becoming the thing. And
I heard that song and I was like, oh, that's weird.
at this
'cause
point, we were
I kinda
talking
hope
on the
that's
phone
about
almost
me.
every day.
Yeah, that's what I
Oh,
was just
wow.
thinking.
That's
Are you
exactly.
singing
I was
these
like,
songs hoping that you're the girl in the
like
song?
I just remember like when you almost don't breathe for a whole song is what happened to me.
hard
during
when you're
It's a
singing
great
it,
song.
Oh my
Yeah.
gosh, I've
That's
been
not
there.
proper.
True. But I was like, oh my gosh. And I had the thought for the first time, I was like, I kind of wish that was about me. That's how I feel.
And I'm
Wow.
also like, okay, I'm talking to you on the phone almost every day. How in the world do you not know for sure that this song is about you?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
whatever. At least she's playing a little coy there.
Yeah.
But she still
She's like,
swears.
well, you're talking
by
to other girls too every day.
it. Yeah,
Just later in the day.
Later in the day. So
I'm
anyways,
I'm the morning
I
call.
tell her that night. She took me to Centennial Park. And they used to have these magnolia trees that somebody put these nets up in.
Yeah.
Do you ever
Oh my
climb
gosh,
those?
I do remember.
They're long
those.
gone, but so we climbed up
They're
in this
amazing.
magnolia tree and we're talking, and I was like, "Hey, that song is about you, and I know you're not ready to date anybody because you're dealing with this heartbreak. But we've been friends for a long time. I don't just want to be your friend, and I don't. I'm willing to wait, but I do think I've earned the first date once you're ready to go on a date
Oh,
with
that's
somebody."
great. I love that.
And 5 months later,
5 months. Kidding.
we finally went on our first date.
But then I'm assuming like Were you at the place?
I
You're like,
mean-
all right, if we're gonna, this is probably.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I was nervous, but it's so interesting. He took me. We were at an Emmylou Harris concert in Oxford, Mississippi, in the square, double decker, and that's when he said he was like, "Are you ready to let me take you out?" Yeah, we were sitting on the courthouse stairs, and I was like,
Oh, so that wasn't a date. Y'all
"That
were just
was." We were
hanging.
just like with a group of friends, and I was like, "I think I am
I mean,
actually."
it was kind of a date.
Yeah.
It was like
wasn't a date.
the
Depends who
testing
you are.
ground.
We're
Yeah.
just friends hanging out
yeah.
in a different state
And-
at a concert.
And all your friends are suddenly not there anymore.
Yeah, that is exactly how it went,
Right.
actually. And I was like,
You like
yeah,
give
I
them the
think I
cue, Drew,
am.
and everybody just
Everybody's
disappears.
Oh, literally. Everybody's
Get
in the know
lost.
but
Everybody,
her.
yeah.
You know?
That's kind of
That's exactly what it was.
But truly, I was like, I really think I am. And he goes, that is good because I have tickets to see Patty Griffin at the Ryman
Oh,
in
I
May.
love
and I was
that.
like, yes, I love Patty Griffin. And we go to that. We show up. You know, he picks me up. We actually hung out earlier in that day because it was your birthday. So I took you to lunch for your birthday, and then he came and got me later that night. And we're walking in to the Ryman, and he like grabs my hand across the street, and I was like, "Oh no, this is not this is not like this." He's like my brother. I cannot hold his hand. This is so weird. But literally, I can't.
And I'm like, you are not like my sister. That's not how I see you.
That is not how I am to you. And by the end, I say this to girls all the time. I'm like, don't write people off because you never know. But literally by the end of that Patty Griffin show, I was like, I'm going to spend the rest of my life with you.
Wow.
Like
So you owe Patty
You owe
Griffin.
Patty Griffin.
a
Yeah.
lot.
Yes, thank you for all these really sad songs
Sad
about
songs.
death that
Yeah.
made her fall in love
That
with
made
me.
I feel like, did you guys feel pressure that night? I mean, you have this 5-year awesome friendship
Yeah.
that you've built up, and then you're kind of going to roll the dice on a
That's
date.
yes, that's exactly. I did not want to ruin our friendship.
Right.
That's what I kept saying. I was like, I don't want to mess up.
I
what
felt pretty
we
confident
have.
that if we went on the date, it was going to happen.
Yeah.
So I was more like in a more of a celebratory
Mm.
point of view than I was a nervous point of view.
Yeah. Because we
I was like, finally. I mean,
Yeah.
what have we been doing?
welcome.
Yeah.
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 To reality. But it really was like, I it's the only way. And it's one of the decisions that I've made in my life. I always felt real angsty in, oh, should I marry this person or not? When I was dating, I had like two
Yeah.
really serious relationships, and they were always felt like that. And we never had really a conversation about getting married. But there was this like,
We didn't talk about it one
Oh.
time because I was like, all right, these other people that you've been with, they
Yeah,
used
yeah,
marriage as a like a leveraging tool
Mhm.
Yeah.
in the relationship. So when I asked her to marry me, she had no idea it was coming.
Yeah.
Everybody was surprised except for her best friend, who was also one of my good friends, was helping me with it, and then my parents and her parents. So
So, and how long have y'all been married now?
18 years.
Okay.
mhm.
So watch this segue.
18 years.
Watch this segue.
Do it.
Speaking of marriage, how is marriage what you thought, and how is it not what you thought it would be?
Oh, that's a great question. I think I didn't know, and it's a great segue from that story we just told. I didn't realize how much of marriage is a friendship, like this partnership.
Mhm.
And I think I had that realization when we went to that show. I was like, oh, I could spend
Yeah.
all my days with this person who I just love to be with and who I respect and admire and have watched change and grow. And that is so much more of to me what marriage is. The romance and those like kind of like the butterfly, all those feelings, that was all there too and wonderful. But the steady presence of somebody who knows you and who chooses you
Mm-hmm.
anyway, it is I'm so grateful. I'm so grateful. And I don't think I realized in the beginning that that's really what this whole thing
Yeah,
is, which
well
makes
said.
sense because that is like such a reflection of God and his love for us. He sees us fully and chooses to love us and embrace us even when he sees us fully, which is like really vulnerable and uncomfortable.
Yeah.
I agree with that completely. Also, I think that if you ask my 18 years ago self, what I would be surprised at now at 41, I think I would be surprised at how much both of you change, and that's sort of part of the beauty is that, you're kind of married to like a different person every couple years, and you are a different person every couple years. And I know that sort of tension and like holding each other in that tension as you grow and change and giving each other space. Like I feel like when you're young marrieds, you're like trying to create the like exact perfect relationship, which is hilarious because that's impossible.
Yeah.
And you haven't built up quite enough sort of trust and space for each other to be who you are because you're still becoming. But then as you get older, there's like the canvas with which you sort of paint your life on gets so much more overlapped with each other that it feels just like messier and more beautiful and funnier and the hard stuff, like we're walking through right now a really tragic family death of a young cousin who had cancer. And Ellie, it's my cousin, so Ellie didn't know 18 years ago that she was going to step into this grief in January of 2024 of someone that she didn't know existed. And the same thing happens so you carry each other's weights and you step into these painful spots together to hold each other up, to walk through things, but you also do that on the celebration side. And then like the whole children thing is a whole nother super complex layer of it. But I think I've been so wonderfully surprised by how marriage has been just this incredible like co-drive through life.
Yeah, that's beautiful.
And I think for me personally, I saw myself as this like super strong, I'm going to be such a great leader and I'm going to like really take family and marriage and life by the horns. And in a lot of ways I do that, but in so many other ways I have like clung onto Ellie as she's carried me through really difficult and hard things.
I mean, I can't agree more with what y'all said. I think that is the thing when I look back, and I don't know if that's because of like rom-coms or some American culture thing that gets imbued into all of us, but I do think there's just no way to understand what you said is so beautiful, Ellie. Like the importance of a friendship, knowing that 20 years from now, that is a lot of the time going to be the thing that's most connective, not the attraction, not the goosebumps, not when Ellie comes down looking beautiful and you're like, oh my gosh, this is what, it's one of the reasons I love this woman. But it's just like, I just like you and it's just good to be with you like a lot.
Yeah.
And I think one, and then two, the fact that there's just no way to understand how much we change. That's exactly right. I mean, we were meeting with a counselor years ago, and I'll never forget him telling Annie and I, he's like, oh yeah, this is like our 6th marriage together. I mean, it was like,
That's
that
so
totally
good.
resonates. Yeah.
mind blowing to me. Cause I was like, what does that mean? And he's like, you're just always, and so when you realize there's no way when you're standing there in front of God and all your friends that they go, for sickness and health, you're like, yeah, I mean, because I love this woman, but it's the great, I laugh about this a lot, but it's like the great divine bait and switch, because it's like, it's how God gets you into this commitment, and then he's about to just rock tumble you to death. But, and you can't understand it. You're like, this version of Ellie, I love her. This is the woman I'm marrying because this is who she is, and this is who I am. And we have space for who each of us are, and we connect on who we are. And then you wake up 10 years later, and Ellie goes, hey, I'm not like that anymore.
Yeah.
And you're like, well,
Stop
that's
putting
not
me
what
in
I
a
signed
box.
up for.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
That
And-
is exactly.
And you have to be, if you don't understand that, it's just impossible to do. But what helps with that is the friendship, is that thing where you're like, whatever version of this, I'm here because I love you and I want to be with whatever that is. It's just so hard to understand that when you're young 20s.
Well, and there's so many inputs too. There's like, you each have your own families. You have your own relationships. You have your own sort of relationships with money and economics, politics, religious point of view, how friendships. I mean, there's so much going on that takes time to get to know yourself and each other in that stuff. And we just, I'm just really grateful. I think the thing that is the same, the thing that was true that I wanted marriage to be when I was a kid. When you're single before you get married, even single meaning you're not even dating anyone, you really just like, man, I just wish I had somebody.
Yeah.
And I'll to be honest, it's really great to not ever think that. I've had about 6 dreams in the last 18 years where Ellie and I were not married in the dream.
It's the worst.
And I wake up in like a cold sweat. And I'm like,
I hate those dreams.
It's just a dream. Thank God, because it's really there's an anchor, there's a rootedness, in the relationship that I dreamed about having. And now, don't get me wrong, I still fight loneliness like everybody does.
Sure.
In various ways, but that's not the piece that I sort of wrestle with.
Dave.
That's good. That's good.
Hey, sorry to interrupt you.
No,
what are you reading there?
Oh, God. I was hoping you saw that I was reading. It's my copy of the Teen Study Bible. So I'm going to get back to it if that's okay.
Yeah, that's totally fine. You're like north of 40 now, aren't you?
In human years.
Sure.
Yes.
Yeah.
God years? I mean, infant,
That's
okay,
true.
okay. I admit it. I may be a little past my quote-unquote teen years, but this Teen Study Bible is that good, man. I can't put it down. As a parent, I'm loving it.
It's true. The Teen Study Bible is a classic, right? It comes in updated editions now, available in NIV, King James, New King James versions, right? Yeah. And it has sold over 4 million copies.
I love the TSB, as I call it, the Teen Study Bible, because it helps teens discover how God's truths relate to their lives today and helps them apply God's words to issues they face, like bullying, depression, peer pressure, and stress.
And it features notes, articles, book intros, character profiles, Q&As, and more, offering the knowledge, strength, and clarity to navigate life's challenges with Scripture as your guide.
Find out more about the Teen Study Bible and order your copy today at Amazon.com/Teen Study Bible.
So how would you say, to the point of how we all change over this past 18 years or 23 years, how would answer for each other, like how would you say Ellie is different today than she was 18 years ago, and same for Drew?
Oh, cool.
I would say that Ellie is more sort of open to lots of different points of views.
Johnny, can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Yeah. Sorry, John. I'm going to talk to the listeners real quick.
Do you mind if I listen?
No, I guess it technically makes you another listener, so let's join in.
Yeah.
Hey there, Dadville fans. Are you ready to turn your dad space into the ultimate dad haven?
Yes. Sorry, I just want to interact.
Look no further than Home Threads, where style meets dad-approved comfort.
That's right, Dave.
Yep.
Let me add to that. At homethreads.com, explore furniture designed for the modern dad. That's you, and that's me.
It's the mad, as we call it.
The mad.
Yeah.
From recliners that embrace you like a bear hug to sturdy, kid-friendly tables for those epic dad projects. You know what I'm talking about. Yeah. We've got the pieces to make your dad plans a smashing success.
John.
Yeah.
I'm so excited about my new Armin Living Cusco Rustic Acacia TV stand. John!
That sounds so exotic.
I know. I got it from I'm exotic. I got it from homethreads.com. It's sleek and stylish, the 2 S's that matter to me, with a really cool mid-century modern look. I love it.
Dave, I love it too.
Okay.
We're only going to watch football games at your house now.
Well, that was part of
That's
the
already
for
what
Dad.
we've already done.
And that's only the beginning, John. Home Threads has every piece of furniture you could possibly imagine.
You are so right, Dave, about just this, but not anything else. They have bedding, side tables, rugs, lighting, kitchen, and dining, and so much more. It's seriously amazing.
I know. And homethreads.com always has great deals with discounts on pricing and shipping.
Dave,
okay,
listen to me.
Okay.
Go to homethreads.com/dad Dadville. Don't you dare leave off that Dadville today and get a code for 15% off your order.
You got it, Johnny. HomeThreads.com/Dadville to get a code for 15% off your order.
That's right, because being a dad, it's an adventure, and your home should be the perfect base camp. Home Threads, love where you live.
I think we both grew up in sort of very particular sort of evangelical culture. This is the way kind of mentality about life, about marriage, about faith. And Ellie's just got such a huge openness about her that's really beautiful, that has been fun. I think that's part of it. She had to do that to cope with my contrarian spirit.
Right.
It's true.
And then I think Ellie has really, I think at that age, she was really afraid of her gifts in some ways. And now she's not at all. She's very owns her giftedness.
Wow.
And her, calling in life, which is really, really cool. And then there's a really sweet one, is that she's way, way, way more on time than she was 18 years ago. And that is just an act of love.
And
Are
of
you on
God.
time because
And of God.
Drew wants?
That is what.
That's my love language. That's
Yeah.
the missing chapter in the love languages book.
Yeah.
Is being on time.
Yeah.
It's not in there. They forgot. But it really is. It's sweet to hear
She was
you
like,
say
"What's?"
that,
She's like,
babe.
"What's your love language?" And I'm like, "Being on time."
Punctuality.
It's like,
Yeah,
that's not in
punctuality.
this. There's not a chapter on that.
I was like,
So-
"Well, you haven't read
He's
my
like,
book."
yeah, you're like, I have,
like,
a,
it's
I have a
super
I have a
Microsoft
book called
Word.
The Six
Yeah.
Love Languages.
It's coming out next spring. guys.
Mine is physical touch and punctuality.
Yeah.
I mean, you can
Yeah.
just imagine.
Yes,
I'm sorry, what's the second one? Punctuality.
punctuality.
punctuality. Yeah, be early.
I
Actually,
mean, there's a lot of others, but those are just the
Yeah.
top of
Yeah.
my head.
yeah, that's so interesting. That's really sweet to hear. That's a sweet question. First of all,
I want to hear more about the being afraid of the gifts. In what way?
Oh, I think probably what he's referencing is I am a very reluctant musician.
Uh-huh.
I grew up here in Nashville and saw firsthand my dad's producer.
Yeah.
And so I was very up
And
close.
legendary.
A legendary producer.
Legendary.
Yeah,
producer,
like piles of Grammys and
Yeah.
Dove
Yeah.
Awards in the
Super
attic.
set.
He's not he's a very humble man.
He doesn't
but-
dabble.
No, he doesn't dabble. And so I grew up loving music and seeing firsthand how music is powerful to bring hope and connection and healing. But I also saw, I guess I am pretty much 0% enamored with fame.
Mm-hmm.
I just
You were
from
front
a
row for that.
really young age, I was like, being famous means you're in prison, basically,
Yeah.
because you
Jeez,
can't
that's
ever
fascinating.
go anywhere
Mm-hmm.
and just be yourself. And that sounded terrible to
Yeah.
me. And yeah, I loved music, and music is like breathing to me. It's
Such a
how
big
I
part of your
process. Yeah, it's how I've always processed faith, doubt, heartbreak. I was like a bad version of Taylor Swift in college, writing songs like Charleston about Drew, about your heart getting broken. And so, but I would sing those in the stairwells, and girls would line up in the stairwells. And so I learned that music was a bridge builder connecting our stories. But I was like, that's so cool. Again, powerful, not what I want. And so I think just saying yes to that particular set of gifts I just knew the cost. And I'm a 7 on
Right.
the Enneagram, and I
Yeah.
hate pain. And I'm like, cool, I know how to avoid that pain.
Uh-huh.
Don't do it.
Meanwhile, Drew, like Annie for me, is careening toward it at just
Literally.
Mach speed.
Literally. So
She's like, "What's hard? That's our path." I'm like, "Well, do you know that? Look at the one to the right. Actually,
yeah, did
It's,
you know
really
there's
wide.
a gentle slope? Yeah.
But you don't get to go to the peak.
I mean,
With a view, no less.
I know, and-
yeah,
amen.
rather than just climbing straight up
Oh
that
yeah,
mountain.
yeah.
We could just go around on
Yeah.
the trail that's already
Just use
blazed.
your plane.
But see, we do this thing.
Just use your plane.
I think Ellie would attest this. We've done this thing now, so we've done it 3 times because we do it every 5-year major anniversary, where we go do something really hard but really fun. So for 15, we climbed the Grand Teton, which is an
Jeez.
actual straight up rock
Yeah,
climb.
yeah.
Like it's a And it was one of the hardest things we've ever done.
Yeah.
And I would say it was the perfect metaphor for marriage because it was super hard.
Mm.
It was required a ton of trust, patience with each other.
Yeah.
And this third person, the guide, which was, there's like a lot of metaphor in that too.
Mm.
But, and we got to the top and it was unbelievable. And we got done. We were like, I'm so glad we did that. That's one of the highlights of our marriage.
Mm.
We just did the dumbest, hardest thing that 40-year-olds can do. Go
We
rock
did not
climbing.
train
There's
for
like
it
multiple
properly.
places where
Yeah.
it's 2,000 feet down. And
Oh
the
my
only thing
God.
holding you up is your hands and a rope. You're like, wow.
And you guys don't rock climb.
Nope.
I mean, I have,
Yeah.
but we're not rock climbers. I don't own any
I would
gear.
call
just
us
like-
mild.
You just signed up one day and did it.
Well, we were
Yeah.
going to try to do Kilimanjaro, but COVID.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
Kinda
I
kept
did
that.
not realize. I signed up.
She
'cause
thought
I
it was a
like,
hike.
This will be great. It's guided, and
Uh-huh.
I'm like, oh, great. I did not know when we had our training day. I was like, what are we training for? It's walking, And
You're over there like, oh man.
and he
Oh.
About to put on a harness.
puts the harness. He's like, you're gonna need a harness, and I was like, what? And he's like, so this is what we're gonna climb today, and it is literally a sheer wall. Like I was like, what?
And then she crushed it.
No, but he was a really good guide, and
Mhm.
so
Mm.
it was so hard and so exhilarating, really, but really scary. And that's it, and that's marriage.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
it is a really. I always say like it's like the best work that I know that I've learned how to do, because it is work sometimes where you're like, oh, I do not want to own this, or I don't want to come to terms with myself in this way, and here is this person who's
Yeah.
just witnessing it.
Yeah.
And but who's still there, which is a gift. So
So what about change with Drew? What
well,
are those?
there's some practical things. Like I thought he liked to shop, and he did not. And I thought he liked the
No,
sun.
he lied.
And he
I
didn't
did like to
it.
shop before we were married because everything she saw, I was like, I mean, that you look good in that. That'll be fun to take off.
Hey.
Apparently, yeah, that was. So I was like, I thought you loved shopping, and he was
motivator.
like, actually, no.
But to be
I was
fair,
like,
I do shop for you.
You do,
I like
and
to,
you're,
but I don't
yeah.
I like to do it without her.
Yeah, with
Yeah.
me not there, with
I can't
my
get over that
indecision
quote.
away. But like, so there were some like real practical things right away, and like I loved. He would like. We've been to the beach several times together with friends. He'd be out there all day, and on our honeymoon, I'm like, "Let's go to the beach," and he's like, "I'm just gonna sit here in the shade," and I was like, "What?
Wait a second.
don't-
You've duped me.
What?" Like I literally
I
had
don't feel
tears
totally-
on our
totally
honeymoon. I was like, "He only likes
In
the
with
shade."
the storytelling going on right now.
It was just one time. You were in the sun with me a lot, but
She also says that she didn't marry a golfer.
I
And
am
now she's married to a golfer, which that's totally
I'm
legitimate.
literally
yeah.
like,
Yeah.
when I said I do, I did not. I would have probably still married you if you were a golfer, but that would not have been on the plus list. That wouldn't have been on the reasons to marry him, like
Right.
golfer. No,
That's not a pro.
that's
Well,
a
and,
con.
and Drew, I mean, you're not just a golfer. You're like an adventurous,
Yes.
ambitious golfer. So it's
Thank
not like
you.
it's one thing to be like. I mean, that needs to be said because people listening are like, what's wrong with golfers? But because guys who go to their local, like if you went to the golf club twice a week, like Brad or something, that's the one thing.
Yeah.
But I mean, like Ellie said, you're scaling everything.
he has a
in your
top
life.
20
You're doing
So
list.
it's like I got to
destination
go.
golf
We're going
trips.
to Torrey Pines. We're going to.
I don't know what you guys are talking about.
Yeah,
No, I'm saying this in a good way.
No, yes, that's true. I kind of went all in on it for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's not, I mean, it's not, to your point, Ellie, it's not like, oh, I married a guy who likes to golf. Like, you like adventurous golf.
Yes.
You want to go
Mhm.
play all the course and do
Well, I
things.
love all the people that I've met through it. It's such an interesting. There's such an interesting intersection of athletes, musicians,
Mhm.
and successful business people.
Yeah.
that happens.
do it, yeah.
And so there's just a lot of fun to be had, and
Yeah.
it's been a really like I can.
I didn't mean to
genuinely
derail your
say,
how I changed.
No,
I just
no,
wanted
it's,
to. That was more of a mea culpa
Yeah.
than anything.
You need to submit
I
to the.
see that you didn't marry a golfer, and you are, and I'm sorry.
I'm sorry, but it is.
Yet.
This is the
Here we
reality
are.
now.
Uh-huh.
And it's I'm actually interested. I'm like I can't believe you didn't say about me because I used to avoid pain. I mean, just like a
Yeah.
7.
Oh, yeah.
Like we did not have pretty much any conflict in our first 3 years. Not because there wasn't conflict,
Right.
but because I was like, I'm fine. No,
Yeah.
it's totally. And then
Yeah, that's definitely the case.
I read this article, 3 years, at 3 years, on our third anniversary, my best friend gave me this article. She was like, at 3 years, everyone realizes they married the wrong person because they're a person
Yeah.
married to a person.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And and I was like, what a depressing article to get.
And I was like, that article's so true, right? And, she's
And I was like, what?
what? But I'm the one.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Totally. So that I think has been that like those like kind of like practical things, but that's been one of the main. That was the foray, I think, into our actual like real marriage is
Yeah.
when and what was so beautiful about Drew that's still true. This isn't the thing that has changed, but he's never shied away from anything that is hard. And
God, that's such an incredible trait.
it's such an incredible trait. And I remember we were in London. I had been in counseling, like intensive counseling. I kept being like, so when does Drew need to come? And they were like, actually, I think if you...
We've got some things to work on here.
I was
Just
like,
me
so
and you.
he's definitely needing to hear from you too, right? And she's like, actually, I'm not saying that he doesn't have any of his stuff, but the way that I hear you talk about him, if you can be your authentic self and come and be real, he is going to respond. He's going to enter in with you. And I will never forget our first conflict that we had where I was really like, letting you into my pain, the intimacy into me, you see. We were in London and we were on the London Eye in line and we were having this conflict. And I feel like we might have even talked about this before, but I was not wanting to have the conflict in public. And he was just like, no, we're doing this. And I cried the whole way on the London Eye. It was a terrible
Which is
ride.
sort of, is that punny? That I crying?
I cried.
digress. Keep
Yes,
going.
it is funny, and I didn't see anything from those views.
That's even more
'cause,
funny.
Yeah, have my sunglasses on and close my eyes, but we went to the hotel lobby afterwards. This Peroni beers that we got in the lobby, and I will always say, like a Peroni beer is like the taste of hope to me, because what happened was he was willing to sit with me in all of my verbal processing, all of my discomfort, I felt like a toddler. Like I wasn't good at explaining when I was upset or had been hurt. I didn't do that well. I had a lot of rough edges. And he was still sitting there at the end of it.
That's beautiful.
And I was like,
Jeez.
you're still here like freaking 2 hours later. What? And he's like, yeah, I'm not going anywhere.
Which I imagine you'd probably be waiting on that moment, right?
Oh yeah,
Yes.
for sure.
Yes.
Yeah, like for me the best way that Ellie can love me is to be honest with me about something.
Yeah.
You know, to fight back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, we did have this thing like in my family growing up. There was this whole language of apology was basically, I'm sorry doesn't really mean anything because it's not. So if you stub your toe, I could say, I'm sorry, I didn't make you stub your toe. It's just like it's a words of empathy. It's not necessarily an admission of guilt. So Ellie was more of the like, I'm sorry means I was wrong and it's over. And so she would say like, why can't you just say, you know, I'm sorry. I'm like, okay, I'm sorry. She's like, I forgive. I'm not saying I was wrong. I just said I'm sorry. I'm like, I'm sorry I hurt you, but you're taking me out of context here, and I still want to work through what actually happened. So in my family, it's I'm sorry I was wrong. You know, that second half is like
It's a big deal.
Is the big deal. Otherwise, it doesn't
Yeah.
mean anything.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
So that was sort of like part of the thing is early on she wanted, you know, she's upset. She's like, why can't you just say you're sorry? And I'm like, because we haven't talked about what you're upset about. We haven't.
I just wanted
She just wanted
it
the
to be done.
peace. She just wanted she just wanted the conflict to be over, not for there to actually be resolution and understanding between each other about what had happened.
Yeah.
And so when she did that, which started like that time when she's talking about, I was like, yes, we can finally like get to know each other in this stuff. And
isn't it crazy too? That's 3 years in. I mean, I feel the same for Annie. I mean, I think a lot of couples, it's like we think about marriage and we're like, oh, once you're married, you're like married. And it's like, yeah, but I mean,
yeah.
I mean, I think back on when Amy, those early couple years, we got married in 2006. I'm like, we
here.
did not even know each other.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I know that I felt like I knew her. I mean, I know I knew her at the time, but just like now we're in our 40s, we got kids. It's just like, it seems like we did not even know each other.
You're
It's
like, who are
such
those
a roll
kids?
of the dice.
Those babies. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
And I will say another thing that parallels Amy and my marriage, and y'all too, is one of the things that I am most grateful for with my wife is I never have to, she has no problem with conflict. She has no problem telling me how she feels about something. I'm a little more like you, Ellie, where I'm like, I can be fine. I can keep it all in and keep this ship moving, you know. And I would never want to be, if Amy were like me, I would just be like a ball of anxiety all the time trying to figure out this, you know.
Where do I stand?
Yeah, like I'm trying to read her. I'm like, thank the Lord, I don't have to do that.
Yeah,
No.
what a gift!
It's such a gift.
It is, and sometimes it doesn't feel like a gift because you're like, oh, there's a little more mystery around this.
Right.
How do you really feel?
Keep some of the mystery.
but it is such a beautiful thing to be seen as you are and where you are.
Yeah.
And to have somebody who's comfortable with that and who can sit.
Well,
in
like,
that
I mean,
is a
just
big
like you,
deal.
Ellie, again, we're the same Enneagram number, and Drew and Annie are the same. There was nothing more transformative, potentially for me in our marriage. For me, I don't think Annie would say this, than when I just learned to tell her the truth. Like, if she was, especially when it came to something she's dreaming about or she's cooked up that, like, much like you, she's an instigator. She loves that stuff. And finally I'll never, this was not that long ago. I mean, like, a few years ago,
Right.
in that space. Other space it was fine, but like when I knew she had invested, and I'm like, oh God, I don't want to do this. And she's like, hey, I think we should do this thing. It's this in here. And I just was like, I don't want to do that. And she was like, why? And then the thing that I mean, this is a whole other subject, but the thing that I have to get ready for is the blowback, and that's where I would always give, because she'd.
You're
why?
like,
And it was
never mind.
no,
I actually do
oh my
want to
God,
do it.
I thought you said that weekend. This weekend is great. Let's do it. And so I had to learn, like, withstand the blowback. Just like plant your feet.
Yeah.
Because after that, it's wonderful. Because she goes, well, why? And then it's fine. But I would always give on that first pushback because I was like, God, the energy coming off this woman is so strong. And I know it means
terrifying.
But she was so thankful.
That's
like
right.
she would eventually, like, and it may be a few days later, I could feel that she was like, thank you for telling me the truth.
Yes.
Instead of going like, you know what, let's do it. And then I'm either moping on the trip or like I'm not helping plan because I don't want to go.
Totally.
You know, and
Totally. I've learned to trust that. And Ellie, I think probably like Annie, there's one thing that is tricky or a pitfall for someone with my personality is that I know I can win if I fight hard enough.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
you know, there's been multiple instances I could look back where I kind of bulldozed Ellie into something or away from something, you know? And so I've learned, especially in the last maybe 5 years, that when Ellie really speaks up and has a gut about something, it's really important for me to listen.
Yeah.
And she's learned some points when to say that, but then also to not ask anything. Just say, I just want you to know that this is hard. I'm not telling you to not do it or to stop or to not go, but you need to know that this is really hard for me. Yeah. And this is a cost. So learning to listen to that and not try to fix it and not be. Yeah. We were pretty codependent for a long time.
No, man.
You know?
Same.
Yeah.
You know what's funny? Quick story. The first lesson Annie learned, which she would tell you was so helpful for her, it was like, we've been married, there's 4 kids, I don't know, 6-7 years. It was the busiest year that I'd ever have touring. I was like 100+ dates, which for me is
a lot.
A ton.
That's
a lot for anybody.
Yeah. And so we had, she was home working when she was still practicing pharmacy. And so she was like, and she's an adventurer. She likes going. That's like where she's the most alive. So the whole year, I'd just been going and going and going and going, and I could not wait to be home for Christmas. Like, I was like, I want to walk through the malls and see the lights and go on. Like, I just want everything stereotypical Christmas. And so we get a call from Barrett, and he's like at Mo Club, and he's like, hey, we've got a December trip to go to Egypt and Kenya. I'd love to take y'all. And I'm like, I couldn't say no fat. I was like, I want to be home. And hey, we should do this. And it's all the energy. It's there. And I'm like, she's like, what if we do that and then we do Italy for a week after? And I'm like, well, that's pretty cool. But I'm like, that's
actually extra.
That's more. Yeah. So I don't stand my ground. we do the trip. And the first part actually we did Italy. And so we land, I'll never forget this. We get to our hotel room, like, it's 9 a.m. We're unpacking. And I sit on the bed, and she's getting ready. And I start weeping. Like bowels of Sheol weeping.
Yeah.
And she sticks her head out and she's like, oh my God, what's wrong? And I was like, I don't want to be here. And it was her first brush with like, oh, what have I done?
Listened, yeah.
What have I done? And it ended up being, of course, an amazing trip because she said, she's like, oh God, like she was I'll never forget that look in her eyes. She's like, I have broken him. She's like, tell me what you need. I was like, okay, I need this to be fun and easy. And because she's like, we're going to get up at 6 a.m. everyone, we're hitting and I was like, I can't do that. And she's like, we will not do that. It was like, and I was like, when I want to stop and get coffee, I want to stop. And she's like, we will stop and get, and it was like, so the whole trip ended up being this beautiful thing.
Wow.
But that was the moment for us where she was like, oh, what have I done? And I was like, oh, I didn't stand my ground. It's like,
it's not, you got to stand your ground.
Yeah.
And me too. That's my lesson too. I'm like, oh, I'm like, I'm in my 40s and I'm like, I'm still learning to like sink from my head into this knowing place in my heart and my gut of like, no, I can't say yes to that. And it's, if you need to, great.
Yeah.
Also, if you say yes to this is what it's going to mean for me. And a lot of times it's still a yes, but there's a bearing witness.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, okay, I'm going to do what I'm going to do. You're going to do what you're going to do. We can give each other space for that.
Well, it's hard too. Is it's what you guys are so gifted at. Is like there is so much fun. It's adventure. It is memories. Like so, I struggle still. We were planning a trip last night, and there's always a part of me that's like, oh gosh, okay, what's this? Okay, that's gonna work, and it's gonna be great. But like Annie's, this is where she is glowing with joy, and learning like. I have to do so much. Like, okay, is this just me dreading the work this is gonna take, and how much it's going to cost, or is this really something I don't want to do?
Yeah.
And that's what I've had to learn.
It's fun deciphering that and then being like, oh, this is my stuff.
And the guilt trip I'm putting on me of like, oh, you're going to squash your wife's dreams. Like she, like I'm over there just, putting the hose on her fire, which is like, we're going to do, and I've had to learn for myself, like, Dave, a lot of this, you got to be selfless. And then every now and then you do have a viable reason to go, okay, babe, like, this is what it already looks like, and we got this going on. I don't know if this is good.
Maybe.
Well, we had this thing like, so I do take a fair number of like fun trips, like whether it's golf or I'm going skiing with my brother or duck hunting with my dad and brother. And there was a season, maybe I don't know, 7 or 8 years ago, especially when Emily was little. Heavy Huck was just born, and Ellie was like, "Well, I want to do this stuff. I want to go do some stuff." And I was like, "Please, go do some stuff."
Yeah,
because there's like the mom guilt thing that I think is like just a bunch of lies that moms tell themselves, and a bunch of husbands that don't want to like lean in and parent alone. Talking to you, some of you dads out there, send your wife to the beach and you're not invited.
That's right. That's right.
And so she started doing these national park trips with her friends and annual beach trip, and I think it's been really trying to. She doesn't need my permission, but needed my encouragement because of what culture has told her about how she can't do that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Has really freed her up to like dream her own dreams. And so she got really into gardening and creating some, Al Andrews, our counselor, would say that differentiation is really healthy.
Yes.
That we don't have to be a part of everything each other does.
That's exactly right.
Yeah.
And that's that codependent stuff too.
Totally.
It's really tricky.
It's really tricky. And so I'm so proud of Ellie for paving her own way, both professionally and for her personally.
Yeah.
That I think has given us both more to like root for each other, more to hear about from each other. We're not just totally all intertwined.
Yeah.
And there's plenty that is, but that's another sort of thing that's been different over the last.
And you bring more in.
That's right. That's right. That's so true.
If you have your own things.
Yes, you come back full.
Yeah.
You have more energy.
It is true. And I remember when we had that conversation with Al, I was like, we had kind of realized like, I think I need to like get Emmylou home and quit the band. And at that point, we had built this thing together for 7 years and it was going great.
Yeah.
It was like the wrong time. like technically, like to walk
paper.
away on paper to
Yeah.
walk away.
We just put out our most successful album, most successful tour.
We had a Europe tour on it was like, oh, this is great. It's going great. But it was we were like, we're thinking that Ellie's gonna leave the band and just start being a songwriter, being at home with Emmylou more, and he just started crying, and we were like, oh yeah, this is a bad idea. Okay. And he's like, no, this is differentiation, this is individuation. And you were saying, Ellie, you keep wanting to write songs about your faith. That's in you. Let that out. Be who God made you to be. And me saying, so there is like
her own
Yeah.
record. Not
Yeah.
this is different than what we do. You need to go.
we don't have to.
We
don't have to and shouldn't be the same person.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because God
Yeah.
made us each differently, and so I think that has been a really beautiful thing. People ask us sometimes, do you ever feel competitive with one another? And we're really in pretty much different spaces. So
Yeah.
but mainly what
Our
has
jealousies are more, sort of built around how we do things.
Yeah, that's well said. That's
been,
well
like,
said.
oh, I wish I could.
Not necessarily
whatever the
what
way
you've done.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's beautiful.
And I think in general, overshadowing any jealousy or hard parts, like the rub of that, when it does rub, overshadowing that would be like an overwhelming sense of empathy to know like how hard this work is.
Yeah.
Empathy to know how hard the work is of staying at home, because we
Yeah.
both do that.
Yeah.
For sure.
And then like a deep admiration and respect of who God made each one of us to be and the gifts He's given us to use. So it's been such a beautiful thing. And I'll say this is different about Drew, to like swing all the way back around. I would say that there is a tenderness in Drew that I did not know was there. That
It
really
wasn't there back then, to be honest.
Yeah, it
Wow.
really,
Yeah.
like, I think it was, but just like deep under the ground, like, wintering for all the years of your life until Emmylou was born. And then it literally,
Yeah,
something shifted in your heart and your spirit. That's not just associated with your love of our kids and our children. It's like, I don't know, I think of like Narnia thawing. Not that you were like this cold, awful person, but it has that tenderness in you at one point, Drew was in counseling. He was like, I need to go, like wrestle some things down, and I'm like, not scared of anything hard. Definitely did that. And all of a sudden I was like, I need to go see your counselor because you're a different person.
Wow.
And because you...
Part of it was just the language. I learned a new language of, instead of, you did this. No. I'm like, hey, I'm feeling pretty lonely right now because of what you just said.
Yep.
And I'm really angry about, just like using words to describe the emotions that I was feeling instead of accusing.
Yeah, that's great.
And defending. So it was a matter of like putting away the weapons
Yeah.
and just using words to express.
That's great.
Hey, when you canceled this thing that I told you was important to me, it made me feel really small, and I feel very lonely in that.
Yeah, that's
I'm lonely and I'm
So you
angry.
can't-
And
you
I
don't-
was
you
like,
don't
you don't
fight
have...
about that.
Yeah,
That's right. You have to just go, oh, well, that's interesting. Okay. Tell me more.
Honestly, at first, I was like, you don't have feelings. Like, you're fine. You're so strong.
Well, that's a huge. I mean, it's a huge thing for both of you. It's exactly what we're talking about with marriage. Is that that change is seismic
So-
for
It
both of you,
is
because you're like,
seismic.
this is not a language even I as Ellie know how to speak because I've never had to.
With
Because
you.
I've known how to deal with you in this one context.
Yeah.
So all of a sudden, it's like there's just new things for everybody. You know?
Yeah, and I think a willingness, AIDS and still, Drew, like they can carry the freaking world on their shoulders. It is like an unbelievable thing to watch, how the capacity of you. And it has been really beautiful. I think one thing that is different about Drew is his willingness to embrace places of weakness or where you're like, I need some help, or this isn't mine to carry, and an openness to not having
to carry
fix or
everything.
carry
Mhm.
everything. And that has been really beautiful to watch. And then to pick up things that maybe would be smaller. I mean, just in the parenting, I think, realm, it has been so beautiful. You are very much yourself, and we have a little boy. Our middle son is this like deeply introverted, like tender hearted. He and so watching Drew, son, we're gonna do this, and seeing the way even that he parents, this like tender little heart is like, oh, he needs something different than I need. And it's been a really beautiful thing to watch that kind of when I say melt like Narnia, just seep into every area of your
Well, and watch
life.
this, the green that's underneath it.
True.
There we go.
Exactly.
Well, listen,
flourishing.
I know y'all have got to go, so I just want to say thank y'all so much for your time. What a great hang. And it's so fun because as long as I've known y'all, there's so many things I didn't know about these things. So it's fun because it's like gathering some more intel on all things true now. So before we go, is there anything coming up people should know about? Like shows, albums, things?
Yeah, we do a duo tour. It's our one thing we do together every year. That's in February.
Yep.
14th through the 29th. And then we've got a tour with the band all April and May. We've got lots of new music on the horizon. That's always true nowadays.
Yeah.
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 I got a record and a book coming out this spring.
Ooh.
What are those?
Dang,
What are those?
The book is Fighting Words. It's like an extended version of this little devotional that I wrote. That's like 100 days of speaking light into the darkness. And so we added 10 more days to that. 100 days. It's 110 days of speaking light into the darkness. And really good at math. And but what I wanted to do is make a record that could be a companion to that. And so it's called All of My Days. And it's a bunch of psalms, pretty much straight psalms, like written into
music.
Song. Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome.
To kind of help bury some light in people's hearts. So that's I hope it'll be green pasture. Speaking of green.
Look at you.
Just bringing it back around.
Well, thank y'all.
Thanks for having us on.
So
So
much.
Appreciate it.
Much love.
We're excited.
Deadly.